Al.
What's that?
Keep the cool air in here.
Oh, there you go. That's good.
Because it's like 90 degrees out there in the hallway. Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order at 7:40. And this is open session, and I don't believe we need any introductions unless everybody knows Fred, right? Is Fred coming?
I haven't answered yet, so I'll run down if he is.
Okay.
He's at the station right at the moment.
Okay, all right. So, excuse me, we need a motion to approve the agenda.
So
Look it over because we've had a couple of changes and
Second.
motion by Al, second by Robert. Any other changes needed? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to public comment.
Okay.
Bruce, you have anything? Nope. Laney, do you have anything? All right. Moving
Just a
on.
second, did you know if Fred had something specific he wanted to address or anything, or?
He's got a report.
Oh, just a report,
So, yeah,
okay, I
he's
didn't
got-
know if he knew in addition there was something.
Yeah, no, this is just outside of that.
Okay.
Approving the minutes from the last meeting. Now, this might need some work.
Well, when you ask Lainey if she has anything, she did submit this in writing, so I would like it to be her resume in writing. And I think it's important that we acknowledge it. She put it together and took the time to do it, and
Absolutely.
I do want to. So I'm gonna speak on Lainey's behalf during Lainey's public input.
But we'll talk about this during staff change.
Yes,
So,
yes.
Okay, as long as you will.
This is stuff that's not on the agenda that we. would
Yeah, these are
like
under
to
new
talk
business.
about. Okay, so, we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda, yes? Mhm.
I did correct the, thing, you didn't send that to everybody. Yeah, there was one correction John, gave me about who's involved with the, underwriting committee, or what do you call that?
Underwriting, yeah, whatever.
Oh, that's right, because John was a member of that,
Yeah,
wasn't he?
I had, well, the notes had Robert on there, and
Was
Are
It
you
Andrew-
was
on there?
Andrew.
Oh, it was me, Andrew, and John,
Andrew and
yeah,
John.
okay.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, you actually sent me an email, I forgot to get back to you about that.
So that correction.
I
Yeah,
don't
we'll
think,
just
Okay.
put it off for next
I was
time.
gonna say, actually, I was gonna say that,
Because
yes.
I had a policy that I was gonna work on too, and I didn't get to it, so.
Yeah,
Which is not reflected in these minutes.
Correct. Okay. I would say number 1 in the minutes, J.P. Suckins calling to order. I don't think that's necessary, nor did it probably happen that way. So you can probably cross that off. Anybody else who was here note any changes needed? Okay then, just that one change on under number 1. Who made the motion? That was Al. You accept that change?
I do.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Somebody second?
Robert had seconded.
Robert was-
Okay, that's, the executive committee report is next on the list, no, board chair report. Okay, so I told you a little bit about what the executive committee reported on. I did have a conversation with Bruce, and I'm sure he'll fill you in on the whole business of what's going on with the transfer. We did add an expenditure of $1,800, a request for $1,800 to buy another power supply for the transmitter, because as I explained to him and to Bob, who have been wondering about this, you know, what happens if we get another power surge and we're down another power supply? We are nothing if not a radio station. And so I think it's really critical that we keep being that. And we've experienced a couple things over the last month that have kept us from that.
Yeah, hopefully in the, meeting, we can talk about that.
Under old business,
Okay.
transmitter repair.
Got it.
It's like a standing item. So that's really all I have on that. Treasurer's report.
Okay, do have a pretty detailed treasurer's report here that I'd like to go through with you. the first month we've had a balance sheet since I've been the treasurer, but it's got things I need to explain, which I have in the report that says notes for the balance sheet. The first one is just the PNC money market is off by a couple of $1,000s. That's a QuickBooks error that I need to figure out how to get corrected. I don't really know how to do it yet, but it's I know what the error is. I figured that out today. Prepaid expenses, number 2, we actually have paid 2 months tower rent in advance accidentally. So that number is correct in there, and we won't have to pay tower rent for 2 months. Number 3, I want to point out that I have no idea what our assets are, like our fixtures and equipment and building and all of that. That all came over from Account Edge to QuickBooks from other accounting, and it will be examined in depth at the end of the year when we look at last year's tax returns and see how it.
I've got a copy of that if you want me to send it to you.
I don't right now. I'm just telling you I haven't looked at it.
Okay,
I'm reporting it as it came over from Account Edge, and I'm not responsible for it
Okay.
because I haven't looked at it and I can't look at it right now.
Fine.
Undeposited funds, number 4. There are no undeposited funds. I have to figure out how to get that out of there. That all had to do with continual need to sort out what we matched up donations during the spring pledge drive with deposits. It got so screwed up during the spring pledge drive, so there's not like money that I need to deposit, is what I want to point out there. Number 5, this should be 1766 instead of 1730, but it's wrong one way by. It's got some bills in it that should be deleted, and then other bills that need to be put in. I had Bruce in for $1,000 plus $200 in AP. Is that included in your that $1,000 that you kind of said that we were going to owe you, or that you turned in? Is that included in that $2,000 power supply? That's a whole separate thing.
Did you get that check?
I got it.
Okay. It was.
I'm not sure what you're looking at, sorry.
Okay.
I have turned in some invoices, I'm not sure which one you said. That might have been a placeholder when we first started talking about the boards.
Okay, well, we'll figure that out, but it's approximately $1,700. It shows a credit card liability of $1,200, and we have no credit card. What happened was Megan was putting things in as a credit card when really it was a debit card, and then when we didn't see it when we were reconciling, they got put in again, and then it never got taken off the credit card thing. So that just, yeah, so, but I figured it out, so that's the good news. It's taken a lot for Lainey and I to figure out what the hell was going on, but payroll withholding, we got, this is an accurate amount. I checked with our accountant today and looked at it. So I didn't do a total, but I wanted to let you know those things. And then the most important thing is the budget that we were looking at before. So,
Is that page 3?
sorry.
Hey, Sandra, can you send this electronically?
I did already. I sent
Okay.
that to you at about 5 o'clock today.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So the budget, the most important thing, as I said, is that column D that has stuff written over it. But that is our money that we've spent and how we've spent it and how we've earned it year to date. But my notes on it are also mentioned here. I'll say what they are. The amount of income is correct. The sources of income is not correct. I still think this can be remedied, but will require Lainey and I taking the written notes from Pledge Drive, the Pledge Drive sheets, and asking if we can work in our accountant's office. There's somewhere between 8 and 10 hours. So he's available to answer questions about how we make the adjustments in QuickBooks. Because as we figured things out with the 3 different bookkeepers that we've had, everybody's made their adjustments differently when they figured things out, and it's kind of a freaking mess. But I'm confident of the numbers because our balances are right, they match what we have in the bank. But it doesn't show how much underwriting we have here, because if you go through and look, there'll be an underwriting check of $450 from Christ Unity Church in with 20 other deposit checks, literally, And all of it goes to fundraising, or whatever, so it's kind of crazy. But we're getting it, and that's the important thing to know about it, is that the money's right, but it's bad bookkeeping in terms of knowing where the money came from right now. Actual profit and losses, you'll want to pay attention to my note here. We had budgeted to have brought in $66,000 year to date and have brought in $47,800. Our total expenses year to date was budgeted at $79,000 and we've spent $68,000. So, we've been doing great with expenses, but we haven't been doing great with income, and I told you that. So I've scaled back our expectations for fourth quarter income to $30,000. I have that $10,000 in underwriting, $18,000 in pledges and member donations, and $2,000 in fundraising. If Lainey and I can pull that off, I feel like we'll be miracle workers. All of you, we need your help, especially for that $18,000 for our pledge drive. How we're going to do that, I'm not really sure. Last time we did it with $9,000 that I raised, and that's not going to happen this time. So we got to figure out how we're going to make. We got 24 pledged, but really 9,000 of it was mine, and only 17,000 came in, and that includes that 9,000. So it's going to be tough to get the 18,000. I think we can do it. I really liked Bob Plesney's idea, and maybe we can run with that. But
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask a dumb question?
yeah,
Okay, if we've spent 68 more or less, and we budgeted 79 more or less, and we are off by 20,700, if we subtract the 10,951 from the 27, we're actually only 97.98, 97.30 in the hole.
Different,
So
we've lost 20,000 this year.
we've lost 20,000, but we haven't spent as much as we said we were going to.
But
So
that-
we're not
that's
quite as bad as,
We're
like, okay, we spent 68, blah, blah, and we budgeted 79, blah, blah. We brought in 47, blah, blah, but we budgeted 66, so we're 20 down as far as what we were supposed to have brought in, but we've spent 10 less than what we said we were going to spend by now, so it is actually only a deficit of $9,700. Is that right, or am I totally wrong?
No, I think what this says is we would have been down that much more. What we are down is
Did-
20,661.
But we haven't spent as much as we said we were going to spend, so.
That's taking into account what we
Oh,
have
it is
spent.
taking into account.
Yes.
yeah, otherwise we'd just be that much more. Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was just straight numbers, I didn't realize it was added, putting
Yeah.
the,
No, it's.
I'll double check it, Barb. I hear what you're saying, but I think it's right. I mean,
it could be wrong, because I can't budget for,
I
yeah.
understand what you're
yeah,
getting at, but I think it's,
that's why you don't want me doing this kind of stuff.
I didn't have a question specifically about the figures, but I had something about really to try to make this accessible. How can we make this accessible as we're supposed to with members, but without revealing private information or account numbers or
None of
that?
it. Nothing has account numbers on
Okay,
here this
excellent.
time.
But we have had that statement.
That's my fault. Because I published what you gave me as the minutes, and the first time I took out the account number, the second time I forgot to take it out. So that's on me. I will be more careful about
This is public information.
But that's what I thought. So,
I will put this in the minutes, this whole package.
The whole
And that
package,
gets
yeah.
put on the website.
excellent. Okay, good. Wonderful.
All right, and then, so that's my treasurer's report. And then I made a statement too.
That comes later.
Yep.
Okay, so we
It's
need a
attached.
motion to approve the treasurer's report as given.
So moved.
From Andrew, second by Andy. Any other comments, questions? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to reports. We have a committee report from the PC, which is attached. the airshifter standard operating procedure. Did anybody have any questions about that?
That's only, if I can say that,
Starting
that's
on page
only, blah, blah, blah. Where is it? But this is, where is it?
Page 5.
Okay. But it is only a first draft,
Okay, that was one of the
and
questions.
we are working towards making this something so that every airshifter will have the same information. This isn't bylaws, it isn't affected by the bylaws, it's just things that give airshifters information that they have to know and have to follow.
Okay, and then, so the programming committee put this together.
Yes.
And what is then the plan to move this forward?
I was gonna ask you all what you think, and I've got a programming committee meeting tomorrow night, so I will ask them what they think. But I really would like to get this and have everybody look at it. Now, we had so much trouble with the airshifter contract, which was not really, it was a bad thing. So we had so much trouble with that I'm not sure exactly how to approach getting this to people and telling them to pay attention to it.
Repetition. People get used to repetition. That's what some of the stuff that we're hitting walls, and then everybody's like, oh, and just stops. You know, sometimes you just have to
Well,
keep with it.
And
a bit.
maybe what we do, and maybe the programming committee can do
Because the
this, is to
airshifters-
post it in the studio or somewhere very visible in the station and say, we would like to get your comments and ideas.
okay, it was posted on the outside bulletin board, well, we put in.
The bulletin board would be fine. It's, what, 9 pages long or 5 pages long, something like that.
Yeah.
And then you're opening it up for people to give their input, making it visible
It
enough.
was
for them to
posted
see.
once and taken down.
But it was just posted like as a document on the,
Right,
yeah.
right.
If you make a post, say, you put out a physical copy, then you have a digital file attached to the thing you're sending.
Mhm.
You specify that it is a draft, and that you're hoping to get people's feedback so that we can all discuss it at the next associate meeting. I think if we put like a little deadline on it too, people will like start actually maybe paying attention to it. And that deadline's kind of coming up a little bit too, so again, they'll maybe pay attention to it. And if you've got the digital file, they can just click on it there, they don't have to go into the station if they, what they see in the station, they don't want to cross it, and that'll maybe jog their memory a little bit.
When you put it up on the bulletin board, I would put page, not a typed document, all
Okay.
stapled together.
Maybe on pink paper, really bright.
Whatever color you want. Okay, anything else on that? Okay, music committee had a very brief report on page 12. Staff reports are,
I would like to say you did a great job with this, Barb. I really
Thank
do.
you,
I really do.
I promise.
You should be. It's really pretty thorough. I did have one question on it before we move on. I'm not finding it now, but you had a thing about that you can't complain about weft on the air or something like that.
That is, I think that should be like, it should be number one, but, because people do that and they shouldn't, and they should be smacked upside the head if they do. I mean, they should be actually given a censure if they do.
Well, just to say that the history of that with Pacifica is that it didn't go over so good to say that you can't criticize Pacifica on the air when people have different opinions about Pacifica. You know, I mean, there's a major problem with saying you don't have free speech about the community radio station that you are a paid member of and have an air shift of.
well, hopefully you're a paid member.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm just saying that I don't know that you want it in there. I don't want people complaining about every little thing that comes along, but if somebody's got a valid thing that they want to talk about and it's part of their public affairs show, I don't know, but I don't know. I'm just
We
saying
have
it.
a-
Viewer's opinions disclaimer up there already, that maybe we should tell people, if you wanna do that, read this.
You might want to just research it with regard to the NFCB before you put it in there as a station policy.
Well, this is it's funny because I went through the archive because I was supporting your trying to create an airshifter SOP as well as the programming SOP. So Barb and I discussed this, and I made up several files for it. So some of the
Programming
things
has an SOP.
what's that?
Programming has
Yes,
an
I'm
SOP.
doing, since we're all discussing and trying to review it and revise, I've been trying to dig up as many as I can because it's clear, even the few that I found, that there's something very different, even in a short period of time.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of people have a lot of different ideas.
Well,
But what's funny is, so this is my air shifter one, and so it's from February '92, and we're having the same argument, like 20 years ago. It's about the same thing, broadcasting criticisms of West programs, and people, policies, and governing groups isn't just a negative way to do radio, it also sounds horrible to your listeners. Which it does, right? But, so perhaps, as Andrew suggested, we could at least emphasize it's required, if they're going to express an opinion about WEP or whatever, they must read the statement. That's true at any rate, and that goes along with FCC type of
Okay,
thing.
this is a programming committee discussion.
Yeah, it
So
probably
let's-
is.
Sure, but I'm
I
saying
would
it is
related to
discuss
that.
it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because you're
Um,
gonna hear some stuff about that if you put it
Yeah,
in there.
absolutely, but that's the kind of feedback you want to get.
Right, and on this,
I wasn't getting any feedback at all, so this is good.
Yeah.
well, on this is why I also had created the archives, those SOPs and stuff, so that I'm hoping people will start discussing and thinking about this too, just the air shifter. But if they do have negative feedback, they can start saying, well, I want it to be more like this. See in this document, at least, we said it like this. I like this better. So hopefully also give them ideas on how to constructively express what they're looking for and what they would like.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, moving on. Staff reports, we have a report from the services coordinator, which is pretty complete. Did you want to add anything to that? Okay. Operations is pretty comprehensive report starting on page 12. I just want to call your attention to the fact, if you haven't noticed, that the on-air light is now functioning. First time since we have been at it for how long, 20 years-ish? So that's pretty cool, yeah. Anything you want to add, Chris?
Actually, no, problem here.
Yeah,
It lights up when the door closes,
no,
It lights
it's
up when
three
you
mics
turn
or
the mic
something
on.
like
or when you hit the mic.
that. Today, this is a late breaking news.
Oh, breaking, that's what.
I hope it's good late
Oh,
breaking
gee.
news.
It's neutral or good.
Neutral.
City of Champaign prefers to have gas meters for each structure associated with the structure. Years ago, because of Grub being one building, one company, all the meters for Pogo, Dave's, our building, and probably Knight's as well, were put into
Pogo.
Pogo's basement. So there's 4 gas meters, maybe 3 down there. And they want, now that they're remodeling in there, because they're doing major construction on that building, that trips the decision that you need to break those apart and redistribute them properly in the block. So we will get our own gas meter out front. It won't look like the one at Seven Saints. That's a big monstrous one for a big kitchen with a lot of gas flow. So we're working, Dave and I will be working with the construction manager for the Pogo project for doing the plumbing and gas and such to figure out where to put the meters. Right now they're discussing probably putting a pole, as you get to the bottom of the ramp and you turn, right in front of you is the edge of the extension of Monk's front. It's a wood-sided extension there. And they would just put a pole or 2 there and mount 4 meters on that, or something like that. The meters imply you can turn off the gas feed at that point as well, because they want the firefighters to be able to get the gas turned off in any building that they might be working on. So sometime in the next month, there may be a construction project in front of the west, cutting the new pipes under the sidewalk and putting some meters in. But it's going to the city next and then coming back with some sort of design review.
That's not going to impede that ramp and the restrictions required for that, is it?
Well, we discussed that, of course, today, and the construction manager for the project was immediately aware we need a 3-foot clearance there. We're close on that, and if it has to be modified, then they'll modify it. basically cut a few inches off at the top of the ramp and move the ramp a little bit to the south and extend it so that there's plenty of swing space there. Basically, the meters would go where all that wood is stacked right now. So we already are compromising, that's Dave's space, so we're not compromising our ramp there, but it's already, that space is already spoken for. The little bit of a complication here is the city's been talking to Dave about modifying the front of his building because it's not very well constructed, and they're concerned about it, and he is too. So it all might fold together because you don't want to put the meters right there and then have that extension disappear and have his facade move back to where ours is. Our facade is where the original facades for both of those buildings were, and our building had an extension on it like ours, but now our front step and ramp is where that extension was. So he would then have to take off that extension off the front of his and put a new facade. So this is, I told the construction manager about that concern today, so that'll be factored into it when they go to the city, I imagine. So anyway, this may come up in the next few weeks. I'll keep you apprised as I hear back from Anne Marie on the plans for that.
Any questions for Bruce?
No, but I have one for Lynn that I forgot. Do you, if with all of the blind man and the paint guys and everybody, have you got underwriting, any kind of underwriting for that, or is that what, is that how you got that, was any kind of underwriting, and have you gotten the underwriting things in the book?
So, sort of. Blind man, I pulled a personal contact with him, and he donated the blind and gave us underwriting. So we did both.
Great job.
Thank you. He's good friends with Bob, and I worked with getting him into my show and having some fun. So, great contact there. He's a pretty big blues artist here in town. The painters and I are still kind of figuring out the deal or what we're going to do, but they are super excited, really on board. Since the bathroom was taken care of, there's not a huge cost, so they're willing to do it in kind. So Megan and Sandra have written the blind man already about Park District, so those are taken care of.
Okay.
The painters are a little, not on hold, but we're still figuring out. We won't be out in money.
Okay.
Anything will be.
No, I wasn't worried
We're
about.
getting them in the book and we have them recorded already.
Okay, that was, because I retyped all of that because it was all screwed up, because all the numbers and things, it wasn't in order or anything.
Oh.
So we probably need to make sure that.
You should send it to me because I've rewritten a bunch of the underwriting.
Okay, I sent it
Trying to get it more in
Lane,
compliance
but I can.
or
okay.
whatever, if you've got it.
Okay.
All right.
Anything else?
In terms of the operations, as I said earlier, perhaps, that Laney and I had been working on a public file, so I'm just kind of going through, like, trying to check off what's legal, kind of going down through the bylaws and whatever, like, what do we need to do to keep the station legal. So that's one of the things that we already were talking about it, and so she got me out what the old one is, and then I flushed it out some. We have it now, we decided the best place is kind of the main area, so the desk when you walk in the front window, in the bottom right-hand corner. It's a requirement that the public file must be accessible to the public, their walk-in and access. So that way it's public, so the information available, so we're now fulfilling that, because before it was locked up in the station manager office, so we weren't fulfilling that
I think that's fine. I would just
Sure.
recommend that we make an electronic copy of
Yes,
it.
I would like to as well, but
Yeah.
at least we wanted to get started on as much as we could, just to meet the requirements.
Absolutely. Thank you for all your work on that, both of you. That's really important stuff. Okay, anything else? Moving on to old business. Resolutions are on page 17 and 18. This is just from the May meeting where we talked about the RRT, and the RRT was mentioned in a number of places in the resolution, so the decision at that time was to replace the RRT with the executive committee of the board. And so that is all since that I changed in that document. I just made sure that the RRT was out, the executive committee was in, and everything else I think essentially remains as it was. So all we need on this, and take a few minutes to look at it if you want to, all we need is an official confirmation that we do adopt the amended version of the resolutions, and we've already got on the back of this, and it was adopted by the board on October 26th of 2015, so once the vote is done, we would write on this amended by the board on June 25th, 2016.
So moved.
I do
July,
not,
I'm sorry,
So moved.
second?
July.
July
July.
25th, yeah. So Al, motion, Andy second?
no, I do
No?
not believe that we have, I believe that we do not have the right to do this. If we are changing the bylaws, which this does, this actually has to go through the Associate Executive Committee, and the associates have to be able to vote on this.
Which bylaw is it?
This is what
The
I,
resolutions?
yes, these resolutions.
It's not
We're-
part of the bylaws.
But as I'm saying, what they're proposing is changing or possibly altering what is in the bylaws. So therefore, we're clarifying the mission, we're changing our mission, we are changing our programming.
You were the one
we
that
are-
said it could happen if we did it as the assistant executive,
Well,
being
that aspect of
being the
it.
general manager.
But as I'm saying,
Wait, before we discuss it, let's get a motion in a second, the
We have a-
discussion comes next.
Was there a second?
There was not, it just Al motion,
Okay, I'll second.
Andrew
Discuss.
second.
I'll second.
Now we can discuss.
So which law?
We're on page 17 and 18. is
No, in the bylaws, I mean.
In the bylaws, that would be in your binder if you have it.
Right.
I thought it was under under emergency or something, the general manager can be the associates, or the board executive, committee. That's what you pointed out to us.
But this is what we went through.
We did, in May.
Last time, yeah. Todd and others helped us through it.
it says the power to alter, amend, or repeal bylaws shall be vested in the board of directors. Such action may be taken in a regular and special open meeting for which written purpose, notice of the purpose is given to the associates.
We're not changing the bylaws.
But
What number are we talking about?
This is a commitment of the board.
Right.
We're not committing anybody else.
Considered a non-binding resolution, is that sort of what
It's exactly right, yeah. That's why it's a resolution.
Okay, I see at the bottom where I said the executive committee will be working within the bylaws.
Using the team approach as general manager. Our goal to show improvement in the station financials within 1 year and have a positive cash flow by the end of year 2017. Station manager's salary will be included in the budget. A goal of the executive committee will develop a staff of paid workers and militaries who can maintain a functionally physical sound station without the direct oversight of the executive committee by the year 2018. I don't think we're going against the bylaws.
Any other discussion?
I'm also very unclear on why we're needing to make these resolutions. Aren't they already?
We've already made it and voted on it.
Yeah.
A year ago.
No,
Right.
well, yeah,
Okay,
in
early this
October,
year.
yeah. So they've been voted on as an RRT, as
And-
a structure of the
and the
RRT, and that's
reason-
gone. Go ahead.
Well, one of the reasons that we wanted to do it was because 2 months ago, after Jeff unleashed all that stuff on email that was so negative about the RRT, I was like, I'm only gonna keep doing this if we have if we reaffirm that this is what we want to do. And we decided at that time we would, but we would only do it as the Associates Executive Committee instead of the RRT. So I think we've had this discussion,
Mm-hmm,
and,
at great length, as I
yes,
recall.
that's right. And I think it's, it's not perfect, but it's working. We're getting stuff done, and we're making a lot of progress. It's not perfect, but we knew it wouldn't be. So,
But as complicated as all of the bylaws and stuff are, this is something that's simple. It's,
and it gives us direction to say it's serious. We have to turn the station around, and we can't be on the same path we was on before. That's why we did it.
So, well, here's the thing, if we don't approve these resolutions, if we don't amend the resolutions, then we are still going by the RRT
And we
resolution.
don't wanna do that.
And we don't wanna do that.
So the, it's on
We
the
got a
floor.
motion and a second. Any other comments or questions?
I'll move to call the question.
Okay,
I second
we need
that.
a second for that.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
I guess no, because I didn't get a discussion of points, no.
Well, I asked if there were any more questions.
No, I said, wait, why is point 12, why do we even need to have the West Vision 2020 and being in there? Because that's now.
Motion is carried and passed.
Well, that's what I decided, I guess
Yeah,
not, because I didn't get it, that's my point, so, I just do, there's a few of these things in here which I don't really think are necessary.
Okay.
And I think it's
So
actually
you-
changing the nature of where
So-
things are
so
going, and
Andy-
making
so
the
Andy, your vote
association
is
should-
no.
No, because I think the
Okay.
associate should have more of a
Okay.
say in this,
All
in this
right.
aspect particularly.
Yeah, thing is, they've already been passed, so.
Yes, but I guess in my view, that would have been only legally, because it did not go with the bylaws in the past. So right now, we're actually setting up these for the first time legitimately in line hopefully with the bylaws.
Yeah.
So thus, they weren't legitimate in the past.
Okay.
And that's why I'm trying to make a point now, because it's now happening.
Okay. All right, going on to, the podcasting update. This is one you requested, Andy. So what questions do you have?
Oh, let me find this. Here,
While you're looking for your notes, I just want to say we had another trainee come on, when was that, Thursday night? He was interested in doing a podcast
/ drop-in.
/ drop-in, and he wants to do it on food.
He's a foodie.
And he doesn't even know you. I said, well, you've got to meet Sandra, because she's doing all of our podcasting. And I was contacted by the person at the Center for Women's Studies at the university. And she wanted me to come in to speak to her class about podcasting. I said, well, I'm not the only one. There are several others that know a lot more than I do, so I'm hooking her up with those people too. But that'll be a really good connection, I think, as well.
If we want more voices on the air.
That's right.
So, updates on that, the Black Lives Matter is still going strong, and the Literary Lives is still going strong, and,
Is that it?
one
Just the
thing.
two?
Yes, and Connie's
Connie's
Hot Flashes,
the-
but she's not doing it as a podcast.
Right.
She's just doing a drop-in.
Right. And the art theater is kind of screwing over because they're not letting her watch movies on Friday nights anymore.
Okay, well, art theater's not a drop-in, so, or a
Okay,
podcast.
Different topic.
So currently, we just have just the two, the Black.
No,
Lives
those are
Matter.
drop-in / podcast. The things that are being podcast include Disability Beat and See Progressive News, and I think that's it. And
the
Black
two
Lives
Black
Matter
Lives,
and yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
so for the podcasting service that we are paying for, we're using it to distribute Disability Beat, See Progressive Now, Black Lives Matter, and Literary Lives.
Mhm.
And any other that choose to
Sure, but
be
as of now, it
recruited.
just
And
is
yes,
these four.
I
that's
know the
correct.
Labor Hour was interested, and there probably are going to be some other people who get on board eventually.
Sure, but that's the thing. From everything I could see, there are free services that would enable those things to be delivered.
Mhm.
And we only have
What are they?
well, at the last meeting when we discussed this, I gave you a number and I sent an email around with those details. So I can spend a little bit of time digging, but I will just say right now, until I dig, that there are some services, actually, they're actually a recording of it. There'll be a recording of it, me specifically mentioning 3 different ones. So there are some free services, and it doesn't seem like we're using this, we're really making good use of this current service. Even if it's $15 a month, we are still broke.
15.
Yeah, I thought you said it was $15 a
Oh, I
month.
thought you said 50.
No, I thought you said 15.
Okay.
Even if it's, I'm saying, I know it's a small amount, however, we are trying to cut costs everywhere, and so I at least want to review to see, is this paying out? Do we have some kind of deadline to make sure if labor hour doesn't start picking it up, a lot of people don't start picking it up, we have some kind of deadline to review again to say, this is working, this is not working, and we need to cut it. So that's why I just, we don't have to cut it, but I just want to throw it out there that are we keeping up, are we reviewing it, are we making sure it's working for us, or can we just redirect that
Okay,
money
so
elsewhere?
if I could, if I could answer that, how I'd like to answer it is that, that it's already been part of the budget. We have a year as the, as Associates Executive Committee now to manage the station, and I'm not personally going to go and look at other services.
Don't worry, I already supplied them to you, you can just go directly to them.
I'm not going to. We already had an intern research it. They looked at it, they looked at all the
No,
options.
you told me at the time that you gave them a few things, and then that was that, so there really wasn't
It
any
was done, but
research.
the project is started, it's, the research part of it's done, now we're doing it. So, unless somebody else wants to really, I don't know who that would be, but.
So what you're saying is you switch to a free service, if one could be
I
matched.
know.
Can I interject for a second? We have spent a lot of time as a staff, being there, the interns, building a training session of how to upload to SoundCloud. So even if we switch to a free service, we are going to spend that $15 a month on me relearning it, going through the learning curve, documenting it, training an intern, and going through this whole process again. Like either way, we're going to spend $15 a month on SoundCloud for now, or invest in relearning, retraining, spending extra time on it. So it's still going to be.
Sure, but I'm also saying, is the service useful ultimately at all in any capacity?
It's podcast, yes,
and what I'm saying is if we need to set, if it's okay, we think it is now, that's fine, but I think we need to set a date to review it again, because as of now, we just have a few programs, and I'm not saying it's not a great thing to do, but if it's just not working for our community, our listeners, we just don't have lots of funds to throw around.
Well, that's a good question.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Do we get any kind of reports regarding how many listeners are listening to podcasts? Is there any way of determining that? And if not, then how do we measure that other than word of mouth? And I've had several people say to me, hey, I'm listening to your podcast now.
I'll give it,
That's the only
if we're
kind
paying
of.
for it, at least if we're paying for something, SoundCloud is a recognizable name.
Certainly.
That's, I think, the one thing.
People will look
I
for
might
it on
argue-
there.
I might argue otherwise, except for the accessibility of SoundCloud. And it's very popular, people go there.
Yeah, I'm well acquainted with SoundCloud.
Yeah, so that might alone sort of be.
Sure, but again, it's not the point of the delivery
Yeah,
service
I
even.
understand.
The thing is it just doing what the goal we need to have? And even though it's a laudable goal and I love it and
What
all
is the
that,
goal? The
maybe
goal
it doesn't work
is-
for our community, or it's just not right now, or we can't get everything together, but we need to have some kind of feedback and reports
When
from
did we
listeners, or some
start
kind of increase.
doing-
I'll report it to the
Measurable.
programming committee, because it's really a programming issue.
Okay, that sounds good. Moving on to transmitter repair. This ought to be a quick one. The total for a new power supply, which we have a dead one. Chris, I'm talking to you. The power supply is a total of $1,800. Well, it's $2,100, but then we get a $300 credit on the dead unit. No?
Sorry, I closed the report, and got the numbers in there, but,
Okay.
sorry. Okay, so.
And I believe this has actually already been approved by the board a couple of months ago, and so we're just reaffirming that we want you to go ahead with this.
Yeah, the cost is about, there's a cost for the power supply, which is $1,750 roughly, plus $50 to ship it to us for replacement. Then we send ours back, and it's a heavy thing, and we have to insure it for a couple $1,000s. So our shipping cost back is going to be another $100+ dollars. So something north of $1,900 to do the swap. This is a reconditioned unit, which is what we did the last time, and the only difference between them is their warranty period is a little bit shorter, but they work and play well with what's in the cabinet now. A new one, net cost would be $1,500 more or something like that. Between the we still get a trade-in, but the new unit would cost more, and the trade-in would be slightly less.
I have a proposal to make. and that would be that we have a special fund drive amongst ourselves being West.
Associates of personnel.
I'm gonna say air shifters, I can't say associates, because what I wanna aim at specifically are those air shifters that are not paid. And I want to, focus on them and other lefties to gauge their interest in keeping themselves on the air by purchasing a piece of equipment that will support our transmitter.
I would have to say that our records aren't accurate enough to know who's paid and who hasn't paid at this point. I know it's pathetic, but it's true. What?
No, I'm looking for fault, I'm just surprised.
Yeah, no, that's why it's so effed up, because all the
Okay,
things
well,
got put in
so-
without records, and then we have to go, as I said, we have to go back through the spring pledge drive and look at it on that handwritten crappy little sheet that I was keeping, match it up with the pledge forms, match it
Okay.
up with the deposit tickets.
All right, so I'll revise my motion and just say that we
Was that a
have.
motion?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a
okay.
motion.
Proposal.
That we have a special fund drive of $2,000, cover the cost of this, and we use our web email lists, emails that we have for memberships, for air shifters, for associates, for.
While I think you've got a good both goals, I'd like to see us do a GoFundMe. We've been talking about doing that, and man, you know.
That might be a better idea. I could go
Can you
with that.
do that if you're a nonprofit?
Yeah,
That
we
was
can.
something that-
In fact, there's been an
Yeah.
account set up a while ago, and we can reactivate that.
Yeah, I think they take a small amount of it, but I think that's a good idea. Yeah, but I think that's a good idea.
Let's try that.
Who wants
I
to
like
do
that.
that?
Okay, well, first on the agenda.
All right.
Is we need to approve the expenditure, let's say up to $2,000, and they will entertain a motion to reaffirm, motion by Barb, second by Robert. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Now you must.
Oh, that, yeah.
I was gonna ask for a rider on that motion to improve our large screen TV and.
Yes.
Out there at the transmitter, Bob and I have quite a little cave set up.
Yeah, the
When we're out there working,
sofa.
we just turn off the transmitter.
Okay, for the record, that's sarcasm. Whoever's listening, he's.
I was joking. Okay, so what I'm hearing is do it before or after the fund drive? That's what I want to know. So should I wait until the funds are raised?
I have to move money from our money market account anyway, because we only have $2,000 in the checking account, so I might as well move enough to cover both of that, and then we'll put the GoFundMe. We'll use it to refund
So the answer is before.
do it
Yeah.
now. Do it now.
Yeah, but when's the PR committee meeting next? Do we have a date set for that? Because, I mean, wouldn't that be within the purview of the PR committee?
Me and Lainey?
Is that all it is?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay,
And you.
all right.
We'll call one, but.
Okay, I think Community Advisory Board, I just didn't want to let this drop. We have a meeting of our Community Advisory Board scheduled for the end of August. And as far as I know, I haven't heard about any members that have been recruited.
Well, I have, but I am actually about to send I was going to send a reminder email earlier, and then I figured I should wait. I want to confirm the date, time, and location. So I have had about 5 or 6 different groups that were interested, but I'm sending a reminder to them so that they can know specifics and,
I'd like to know date, time, location, and goal.
The date was August 30th. I'm looking at my calendar right now. It's on the web calendar.
You know, he
It's
said-
been in the WWD.
Okay, good. My bad.
For months.
so August 30th.
But nobody's planning it.
Well,
The discussion that we had the last time was that it was going to be an orientation.
Correct.
And it was gonna be at Web,
Okay,
like at 7:00.
okay. 7 PM orientation. Okay, wonderful.
And we would tell them about, what's the job of the advisory committee, what is left. I mean, we do a little bit of a, piece of maybe what we do for the airshifter trainees. And see who's interested in being supported. What's your role as an advisory committee member? How often do we meet? Those kinds of things.
Exactly.
And so whichever board members can be there on that date,
I will be
that'd
there.
great.
I will help.
It's Tuesday, not Wednesday?
It's a,
Does it, you think we're gonna have the painting and the carpet done by then?
It'll be more.
Right then.
I can't make that day, work Tuesdays.
okay, well, that's fine. It actually, once the committee gets going, the board is not supposed to be there.
Yes.
So we have one board member there to facilitate the meeting and make sure everyone gets their refreshments, but they essentially run their own.
Yeah.
So do we have, other than a couple people that Andy has spoken to, has anybody talked to anyone who wants to be on this group?
I have a list of people that I put on the smart sheet, so I do have lots of people. I just kind of, my goal with it is not just to get people on the community advisory board, but to make it a really good introduction to our board and our and the station. Bill Gurrell, who wants to be in the PR committee, but he never can be in town on the right days, had the idea that it could be something not at the station that would be, something we would put some. But I like the idea of being the station if our station looks better than whatever, but I know.
Okay, so just don't drop this from your to-do list. Yes, Bruce?
When this was discussed a few months ago, I think either WWE or some other way you were collecting suggestions.
Uh-huh.
And so, I and I assume others sent in suggestions. Are we now supposed to individually
Oh, okay.
follow up on
I
that?
bet you used that form. Did you use a form for the smart
It's
sheet?
been on the WWE
With a form?
with the link to the forum, yeah.
Okay, well, it's
been on for
there
months.
probably are suggestions then.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if we're supposed to.
Okay,
be
so
doing
nobody's
something-
looked at it, okay. I'll look at it.
So where is,
Remind me, put on my action item, Vicki will look at the smart sheet for,
That's where my list is
community
too.
advisory.
wonderful, thank you. I was unaware of that.
Yeah, thank you for
That's
that reminder.
great. We did want a lot of people to submit stuff, so thank you.
Okay. Moving on. New business, personnel changes. First thing we need to do is to have a motion and a second to eliminate the position of station administrator, and what was Dylan's title?
Let's make it so clear.
Originally,
Sales associate, underwriting
Station
associate,
administrator is
maybe?
what we were gonna
So
have. Wait a minute,
Thank
wait,
you,
I
Al.
don't think that was right. Megan's position was office administrator
Office administrator, you're right.
or
Okay,
something
good.
like that.
Okay, so we made a motion to eliminate the position of office administrator and underwriting
Coordinator.
coordinator.
So moved.
Second.
By Sandra. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now, next up, station staff, new position. So, the executive.
I guess we would also be eliminating volunteer coordinator. Is that what your title was?
Underwriter.
Volunteer
Okay.
coordinator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just a change in the title, actually.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we can
So we don't need to eliminate
Okay.
that as a
Yeah.
position.
Okay.
We can actually hold it open in case
We want
That comes
to,
up.
we get one.
down the road, so we're going to promote.
Okay.
So you wanna, kind of review this for the board, Sandra?
Or you can too, but Lainey has a lot of experience as an office manager, I think, with All About Animals Pet Clinic, where she brought how much square foot did they start with and how much did they end with when you were there?
And like 600 was
8,000, right? And a lot of it under her directorship, so she really did a lot to expand their business. She's very big into business expansion. And she has a master's degree from the U of I in recreational sports tourism with a focus in volunteer management and sponsorship attainment, so with the goal of fundraising, which is one of the reasons that we hired her, because she has that background and that master's degree. So, and I think she's shown us already, especially with the volunteer coordinator, that she can put that to work, that's been pretty self-evident. And
Bless you.
she's got a big job to do with regard to the underwriting, but she, as she explains here, first of all, I think just having her at the helm, and it will eliminate so much headaches with regard to the flow of paperwork that documents the money, right, and where it comes, and that makes all the difference in raising more money. If you can show, how where your money's coming from, so you can figure it out, where how much should we expect from the pledge drives, etc. So she's confident that she can, that we can bring in the 30,000. She hopes 30,000 plus, and so do I. But as you know, then I revised my budget to match that 30,000. I think that and we came to that number separately. I thought that was interesting. That we think that that's possible with her and I working together to do that. We've got the Sound House concert planned, and we're really working hard on the idea of having a house concert once a month in addition to the fundraising. And then as soon as we get the underwriting going, then we have to figure out how to get a grant or two, and that's, I think that's within her bailiwick. I don't think she has never wrote a grant, but I wrote a $75,000 grant. Vicky's written grants before that we've got. So between, working together as a team, I think that's just what we have to do. So I would really make the motion to make a position of station administrator for the express purpose of having Lainey fill that position as a way to apply to be a station manager and to get the training that she needs, on-the-job training that she needs to look at her as a potential station manager for next fiscal year.
I'll second that. That's a motion, right?
That was a motion.
Other discussion, yes, Al?
Are you good at ducking slings and arrows?
I'll make it.
Good, okay. Then I agree.
I would just like to clarify that it's the position of the board from our previous discussion that as a volunteer, essentially, that Bruce is reporting to the board directly.
Yes, correct.
And not necessarily reporting to Lainey, though I'm sure they'll work together.
Correct. It was my understanding that these were equal positions in which they both answer directly to the board. So yes, Bruce
Yes.
would answer directly to us. He's
Right.
not
Both of them
beholden to me
directly to the
specifically,
board.
or yes.
And Bruce is the
Separately.
operations administrator.
That's in a separate line we have to do. But yeah, we should do that next time.
Well, that's with Bruce's consent, so we have to talk to him about it.
Right.
Well, just to clarify that as the as the board executive committee acting as general manager, they're actually both reporting to the associates executive committee.
The
Board.
board.
Board
Executive
committee,
board,
I
yes.
keep saying that, but just to clarify that, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay? Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I hope you understand what you're getting yourself into.
That's why I said slings and arrows. So
We need to get board t-shirts that say, board executive committee at Cappers or something.
No, you can't afford that.
You put a target sign on the
All
back.
right, yeah, and a target on the back would be perfect. Okay.
Okay, fine.
Board elected members of the PC, this is just an announcement. I have 2 candidates who would like to run for the PC through the board, and they are the 2 people who did not get elected at the associates meeting last time. So I got statements from, Rich Bressler and Denise Curia, and they have to be announced prior to the file, so they will be on the agenda for election to the PC in August.
Because that was a screw up, because I think that they really are still on the, but I think that there's some problem with records, but we can.
There could be,
we can
but what I
just
told them,
elect
I said, keep going to the PC.
Yeah, we'll just elect them,
Yeah,
because right now the programming committee is me and Robert and Greta.
officially, yeah, yeah. But then
Pretty good
the
deal to go.
associates then will
Yeah.
be free to elect other people, you know, down the road. We just need to have
How many do we still have open then?
all of them.
I mean, how many does the board make? How many,
Four,
And we have associates make 5.
are you,
Associates
your
have 5
associates
here.
elected? Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. So we have 2 more to fill,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, and we should do that. So that's one of the places where I've definitely fallen down recruiting people
Well,
too.
I can tell you right now that some of the meetings, Renee Angela has been coming to, but I don't know whether she actually wants to commit to being a committee member, but Fred has been coming to all the
Yeah.
meetings.
He has, and I'd talk, yeah, we should talk to him for sure.
Yeah, because he
We
comes
have
to
talked to him,
meetings
but
and
he has-
contributes quite a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, Fred would be great, actually. Okay.
I
very
worry
good.
one
So
last
that-
stipulation
those-
on the previous staff thing. Having checked the bylaws, the general manager answers directly to the board, not to the executive committee of the board, but to the board itself.
Okay.
well, the general
All right.
manager is the executive committee right now, though.
Oh, I'm just saying. That's one point.
Okay, all right, moving on. Treasurer election, we have competition until John decided to quit the board.
In light of that, should we, 2 things. How, should we put it off, but I don't really particularly want to, given that I want to try to get in line, but it's not about me. So should we put it off another month so that if there's anyone else to think about it, since it's so sudden? It was, he made the resolution right before the meeting.
No, we should not.
Well, okay, but as I said, I'm not actually, I want to get us in line with bylaw, so I'd really prefer not to do that, but
Is there somebody
I'm
who wants
throwing that
to-
out there in case someone else, okay. And secondarily, if we, whether or not Sandra is elected, how can we make that work so it's not in violation with the bylaws, such that the treasurer cannot be on the, I mean, is she okay with dropping the executive committee?
You
Or
are
can't
part
do
of the
both?
executive committee. You can't be
Oh,
the chair
well,
of the
I'm sorry,
finance committee.
that's what I meant, that's what I meant.
There is
Sorry,
no
I
finance
misspoke.
committee.
There is no finance committee currently. If there
What-
is a finance committee, the board treasurer should be on the committee, but is not the chair of the committee,
Right, but okay, so
when there is a finance committee.
as of now,
So my position, I wanted to go ahead and let's get this done. I think I've helped this.
Are we asking for nominations for treasurer? Is that what we're?
That would be a good thing to do,
You know,
sure.
Okay.
So let's get people on the floor here, like, who would like, who would like to run for treasurer?
I'll nominate Sandra.
Second. Anyone else wish to nominate someone for treasurer? I don't hear anyone else.
I don't either.
So,
Any discussion?
motion, no discussion?
You want to make a statement?
Yes, I do.
No.
I prepared
No,
it.
I don't. Let's go home.
Yeah.
My motion is to have Sandra as treasurer since no other applicant has come forward by acclamation.
I don't think,
No.
So
She wants to make
I don't think you need a motion, we just vote, don't we?
We're not just forcing you into this.
Well, I do want to state, but because I want it to it won't take long. I've written it out, I know, but.
Needed.
Simple question, yes.
We appreciate your efforts, your work, the time that you put in, and we certainly don't need you to convince us. I think we've already been convinced.
Okay, go ahead.
I would like to point out, reading from 10.03 from the bylaws, the finance committee shall be chaired by a board member other than the treasurer, who should be a member of the committee. The finance committee should be responsible for preparing the annual budgets. Basically, the finance committee does not equal treasurer, and treasurer does not equal finance committee. There actually does have to be a committee.
I know.
Do
But we
it.
don't
It's
have
not-
one.
Have it.
So, but then we need to have it to be involved with the bylaws.
Yes, we do,
So
and
you
all the
want
rest of them
Let's
too.
be honest.
You want
Because
chair
first,
of
what
finance
I'm saying
committee?
is we can't agree on this thing without also doing the other thing, because then we're just gonna conflate the two and make the treasurer the same thing,
It's
and
not
we're gonna
the
have
same
to.
It is not the same thing. I don't want to be the finance committee. I
No.
want you,
Okay.
the last part of my statement here, I would appreciate it if the board would provide a finance committee so that all of the financial responsibility does not fall to the treasurer. That's my statement.
Meanwhile,
Right,
there's
and
a
how to
motion,
find somebody who wants to be on the finance committee.
And someone crazy enough to chair it.
Somebody crazy enough to chair
Okay, put a note on the action items that I will include an invitation to WEFT members who would like to participate in a finance committee.
Still gotta be a
Thank
board
you.
member
It
chair.
says specifically mentions even requests for budget amendments throughout the year shall also be reviewed by this committee, so there is
Right,
supposed to be this
so
other
we-
operational
yes,
thing.
exactly.
Yes, there
Okay.
is, for sure,
Yes.
absolutely.
So which of our board members would like to participate in a finance committee? We need you to chair it,
What
not
are,
the treasurer.
what are the responsibilities?
first of all, there is nothing on the agenda about starting a finance
Oh,
committee
you're right.
tonight,
No,
nor
but
is
it actually
there
is highly
any
relevant to
election.
the
Gavel
election of the
myself.
treasurer.
Nothing on the agenda.
Moving on, okay, well, but we'll definitely, I'll do
We're in
that.
the middle of a treasurer election.
Okay,
And which is
so,
relevant,
do we
yes.
want to do this, do we have to do it by paper ballot, or can we just do it by acclamation? What's your preference?
It's only one.
Acclamation.
Acclamation?
As I move for acclamation of Sandra being our treasurer.
Unless somebody wants to call
Barb
for a
seconded
roll
that.
call, we can just do a yay or a nay.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion carries.
Motion carries, okay.
Thank you.
Left Fest, I don't know that we have, what's going
it.
on?
We have a meeting on Thursday at 6 o'clock at the Esquire. It's an informal meeting being led by Bob Lesnick.
Okay,
This Thursday?
This
Um,
Thursday.
all right, very good.
I
I'll
got
try and be there.
Which time is it at?
Couple more things, insurance,
6 o'clock?
6 o'clock.
I got a statement
I know.
from Beehive Insurance
See what-
that says we are covered through the end of August for our, board insurance, but there are no other insurances on there, so I emailed Don Davis, who had researched all the insurance stuff, and he hasn't responded to my email. So we need to figure out if we have property insurance, liability insurance, all those things, we need to make sure we're covered. I'm pretty sure we are, but I just don't have those records, yeah.
6 o'clock.
Just note that on the NFCB website, there's a link to a community radio friendly insurance company that they
Mhm.
recommend for.
Yeah, I think Don had
Okay.
done that and had compared prices last year, but I just need to get touch base with him and make sure that we're on the same page before he goes off on another Appalachian trek.
Could you put on the next agenda, to know that we need to talk about, we have to talk about, community shares and get that ironed out somehow before the next
Yes.
Yes.
meeting. And really, whoever the finance committee is should be doing it right now.
Okay. All right, last item is fundraising, just an announcement that we are sort of up and running with the house concert series. Mark and I are having one on August 13th with Kevin Elliott as the performer, and it is not going to be a split. It's going to be everything going to left. So look for that invitation going out. Ask for somebody who would like to adjourn the meeting. A motion to adjourn, please. Andrew, second by.
I will second.
Okay, thank you very much. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, thank you very much, and we are done at 8:48.
Not too bad.
That's actually pretty darn good for like,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, for-
I didn't have to use my gavel too much.
Related to new business next, or old business for next week. Here, or maybe it's in there. I found some documents related, the found, the Grateful Dead hours. I found the original contract when they signed.
Just a little bit of
It's
leeway.
like the program and what,
Great.
that would actually.
Yeah.
So
Trailer,
that
I
might
could
be, I don't
probably
know if
get
you go more
one,
into what there or
whatever.
be relevant, but I think I agreed with the discussion.
No, that's okay.
I'm not sure what, I just know like it's been on here and
Oh,
we tried to
that was
talk
the
a
other
bit
truck.
about
I got-
whether or not we should continue to.
He
I have
has,
several trucks, I
well,
can
he
bring
has
the copper, I
agreed,
can
the
bring the bigger
discussion
other
that we
truck,
had
doesn't-
back in the fall
I need trailers,
was that
whatever. I can bring 2 trucks, whatever.